Hello, it's August, and I'm wearing my thrift shopping. I look a little different than Macklemore, don't I? But it's still thrift shopping. You want to see this? You want to guess how much this was, people? Just to give you an idea, because this is all thrift shop. Thrift shopping. And you know why I can get so much to replace my wardrobe from losing so much freaking weight? You want to know? $1.50. How boss is that? How boss is that? All right, so I already did the thing in without this on, so and it looks kind of it looks a little bit whatchamacallit, summary for August. So I'm going to leave it on because I already did a big plea in my voting thing, so I'm going to leave it on, and I'm having a lot of fun in it, and it saved my life. It saved my life in the day before, actually no, the whole procedure trip, it totally saved my life. So anyway, so I'm going to wear this to kind of delineate out from it, and I hope you guys like it because it kind of reminds me of August. And I wish I had more information for you on each of these dates, but we'll just go ahead and do it. So anyway, but thrift shops, unless you're in California where thrift shops are more expensive than the freaking retail stores, in which case I would say Ross, baby. Ross or the Camarillo outlets. Those are the best outlets in all of California. So, all right. So here we go. That's, I don't think I was supposed to tell you that. People will tell you Cabazon, but it's not Cabazon. Camarillo. So, all right. Here we go. So we have got August primaries. So the 2nd is already come and gone, and I missed Tennessee just by a hair, and I'm so sorry, Tennessee. But I know that you kicked it out. I couldn't say anything about Georgia, and Georgia came and went, and they just like, boom, like, and I know that that was a battleground state, and they just like, so I was like, okay. So I know you guys are kicking butt. All right, so, but the 7th is like a super Tuesday or whatever like that. So that's coming up this Tuesday, super huge day, and that's going to be Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi, and Washington. And I know that Washington is a massive, well, I honestly, at this point, like the stories that I'm hearing with what's going on in schools, and I'm not kidding about this, like there are terrifying stories coming out about every single school. Like the schools are absolutely terrifying. So even if you've taken your kids out of school, I still think you should fight for your school boards. Like fight for your school boards because you want to get your schools back in shape. Like you want to get your schools back in shape so you can send your kids back there. Like fight for voucher systems, fight for people that you can get back on, fight to get onto the school board and get the other people out. Like try and meet the people on the school board and find out how great. Go to a school board meeting and just be like, I want to talk to each of you and find out how, you know, where they're at, find out about ICLEI, find out how much ICLEI has been involved in your town and talk to the teachers and find out what training they're getting, that sort of thing. All right. So, and then, so all of those apply to each of these. So either way, 7th is a really, really big day because that's 4 states in a row and the media is just going to snow you with a bunch of other stuff every time a big day comes along. Same thing with the 14th. It'll hit us right after Connecticut, Minnesota, Vermont, Wyoming. That's going to be probably the biggest day of the month is going to be the 14th. Why? Because Connecticut is not a sanctuary state, but it is the pipeline for all of New England. It is where the sanctuary cities are. It is the pipeline for all of New England for the drugs, and drugs are huge in New England, and I do mean massive, and that's what they use. Like the pipeline goes up through Montreal and the whole thing. So it's something to be really, really aware of, and it applies to New York. So it's kind of like this pipeline that goes through New England and then through New York. And so Connecticut's a really, really big state. And the people that you guys know what's going on in Connecticut. So, and then Minnesota, like the things going on in school, there's so much going on. I've talked about Minnesota a lot. Minnesota knows what I'm talking about. So, and then Vermont, no one in Vermont knows that it's a sanctuary state. I can't believe that. Like Vermont is... The people in Vermont who know it's a sanctuary state, even the Republicans, they think that it's a nice thing. And I'm like, it protects the criminal class. Like, no, sanctuaries protect a criminal class. Like, they make an entire criminal class more privileged than other normal, ordinary citizens. Like, be really aware of that. Sanctuary means sanctuary for criminals. It means certain criminals get a pass while the regular ordinary citizens have to obey the law. So all the regular citizens have to obey the law, but criminals, like certain criminals, like, oh gosh, Crowder just shared this really scary statistic. He said they estimate that the statistics are 3.5% of the population are comprised of illegal immigration, though I don't know if that is if that lines up with Coulter's statistics. Though it may 3.5% of that's probably because she's got the best research on the planet, so it very well might. So 3.5% of the nation is illegal immigrants, but it's illegal immigrants that comprise 35% of the homicides in the nation. Not a certain nationality, just illegal immigration. And that backs up my statement that it protects networks. And I'm talking like all like mafia, all cartels, all, that means any kind of nationality can come in illegally. And there's international, like all kind of international mafias can come through. And all, it very easy to do, like very, very easy to do, can come through easily. Very, especially when sanctuary ports are like all along the New England border. The entire New England coast is just sanctuary state. And so criminals can just flood across. And Pamela Geller actually has outlined like what cities are what ports for what countries. Like these states like Maine and Massachusetts and New Hampshire, not New Hampshire, but it skips New Hampshire, but like Massachusetts, Maine and Massachusetts are that entire thing. And there's this tiny little border that's New Hampshire, like this much, but they just bought that whole thing off. They put a fire, like it was really mysterious. A whole fire raged out through that tiny little beach that used to be public property. And so it suddenly got swept out with a massive, mysterious fire. There hadn't been a fire there ever in its history. And a massive fire happened to take out everything. A very suspicious arson just took out everything in the public place. And so a very nice private company came through and was like, we'll happen to buy it from you. So now the entire shore is privately owned. And so that makes the entire coast available. And so all these different ports are available for entry points for just any kind of criminal network to just come on through. So it's just a scary looking thing. So anyway, but people in Vermont are just like, oh, well, it's a sanctuary. And I'm like, boy, we have got to educate people on what it's a sanctuary for. It's a sanctuary for, the mafia and the criminal networks, you know what I mean? And human trafficking. It's really scary. So, and then Wyoming seems to be doing some interesting things out there. They seem to be fighting hard. But we know about Alaska. Alaska has a big, big problem with who they have, like liars, like full-on Democrats saying that they're Republicans. And Wisconsin they all have problems. Arizona has massive problems. Like half of Arizona is voting Democrat, even though Arizona has massive murder rates. It's being ravaged by the coyotes, ravaged, dead people all over the land in Arizona. And like, just all these mysterious counties are just voting Democrat out of nowhere. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. John McCain is from Arizona. Interesting, who has a foundation just like Clinton, identical to Clinton's. And how is it just happen to be voting Democrat? I wonder how that is. If he has a foundation exactly like Clinton's, then I wonder if he knows how to rig elections exactly like Clinton's. I just am really curious. You guys need to watch out for that. Like Arizona, you need to watch out for McCain. Like, I don't think he plans on fighting fair. If everything he does is exactly like the Clintons, then you need to see that investigative material that Project Veritas did on the Clintons. And they don't have it on their normal channel. They don't have it on Project Veritas because they know YouTube and Google would have shut them down. So they had to put it on a separate channel. It's on Project Veritas Action. That's the channel that it's on. Pulitzer Prize winning work. And you need to see that because that's what's going on in Arizona with McCain. I can almost guarantee it. So anyway, and then Florida, like what the heck has Rick Scott been doing? Like that's the danger of like that's a danger of a Republican that but like what the heck? Like the whole thing is sanctuary cities, the whole thing. Like no wonder drugs are so just and opioids. And no wonder, like, the amount of, what really gets to me is the amount of female genital mutilation and the amount of honor crimes in Florida. It just makes me sick. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing there? And the judges have all flipped, amazing constitutional judges. I had to watch within the space of 3 years, judges that were amazing constitutional judges, just one by one flip for the banks and actually flip in their courtrooms and just start being, it was just the bribery was so apparent. And now all these judges have retired, and now there's all these smarmy politicians in there. And you can just tell they're all bought. Like, you go ahead and you look and see if it doesn't look like a bunch of just elitist kids, if it doesn't look like a bunch of aristocrats in there, just like, it looks like they have a sniffer on the rift going, and they're just like, and they're waiting for their tea time. It is so, it's really rough to watch. And they used to be the greatest minds, the Florida judges. And the best minds that used to be on the appellate judges in Florida, the best Florida appellate judges, they've moved down. Like the most brilliant minds that would catch everything, they demoted them. And that's happened under Republicans. So that is the whole reason we're doing all of this. That's the whole reason we're doing all of this, is that it's got to clean the GOP. Like, we know who's bought by China, but there's a whole other thing that has to happen to people that are just sitting there and being like, okay, if you have to. Like, okay, we'll just hold the status quo, but if you have to, I'll just turn the other eye cheek. I won't let things move at the speed you want it to because it'll look bad. But if you have to, like, I'll let it move slower. So the government doesn't expand, at this mass, monumental rate. The laws don't change dramatically, but it doesn't get smaller, and the people aren't protected. So, like the Pamela Geller, like the stories that she tells, they're from Florida, of the cops covering it up. Oh, don't get me started on Scientology in Florida. So I have personal ties. I won't get into that, but I hate cults. And we raise kids to be lambs to the slaughter for cults today. Every TV show out there for kids is just raising them to be a little cult. Just everything, to Google or Apple or just a cult, just wrap up by a cult, and it's really, really, really scary. It's terrifying. And I think it's really important for every parent and every child to be educated on cults, to know what they're looking for, like the 5 identifiers of what a cult is. And so that so when your child has a personality change or they seem really different, that to start sniffing around and start asking and get them out early. It's really, really important. I'm getting off topic. So Hawaii, you're out there in the middle. You're not on a Tuesday. You're on the 11th. I believe that's a Saturday. That's great. No excuses. Like I said in my Clean the GOP video, which is right here. If I have time to say, I don't know if I can link it, but I'll try and link it. So anyway, so Hawaii's there, and then Alaska is so important. You guys know, what's really interesting? If you watch one of those roundtables, I say the roundtables tell us so much because POTUS puts everyone on the spot and makes them say things they don't want to say in public. And he put Alaska's person on the spot, and Alaska's person was like, oh yes, he was like, well, there's a road that's been trying to build for like, a long time, like decades or whatever, and they've been hemming and hawing on it or whatever. How's it going? And she was just like, oh yeah, it's still hemming and hawing and it's not doing anything. And he just goes, actually, it's starting to be built. Like in the last year, we actually got it started, and now they actually start the project next month. Didn't we already do a few miles of it? Like, and she just got really uncomfortable. But he let everyone see that she's a Republican, and when he gave her the shot, she sunk the project and made it look like nothing had happened and that Alaska had been failed. Like when she had the shot and she didn't take it, and she made it look like it had failed again, when in reality, like all the clearing of the paths and all the cutting of the regulations and everything had actually gotten Alaska a road that they had needed for decades. and she didn't want the Alaska people to know about it. Those roundtables tell you so much. They're so smart. They're so smart. You learn so much about every single person because they dump facts on you. You learn so much. You learn exactly where everyone stands. It just, you realize they all need to be cleaned out, because what happens is they sit there and they know their sponsors are listening. They never think you're listening. They always think their sponsors are listening, and they don't want to lose that money that they're getting from their sponsor because they don't want to lose that honey house that they're getting or that nice nest egg out in Sweden or whatever, not Sweden, but out in Switzerland. They don't want to lose any of that. They're not thinking of you when they're answering, and that's the best time to listen. So anyway, so all of these, every single one of these is so important, which is why I did that plea. Every single one. So those are the dates. The 7th, so that's Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi. Everyone's important. Do not skip any of them. Do not. Washington, I know it's a battleground. 11th, Hawaii. Do not skip it, Hawaii. I can guarantee you the Democrats aren't skipping anything. They're not taking anything for granted. The 14th, Connecticut, Minnesota, Vermont, Wyoming. The 21st, Alaska and Wisconsin. The 28th, Arizona and Florida. By the way, do not forget, all these Democrats are going out there and they're running like they are not Democrats. They're just running their name, and they're running like they're Trump. They're running on pro-business. They're running on all these things that sound like they're pro-Trump, and they're not saying they're Democrats, so that when people get their ballot, they'll look for just the name and vote for them. You need to put out flyers that say this name is a Democrat. Like, you got to point it out and just be like, because Hillary, if you actually read her actual campaign stuff with the onward and forward, and you remember that pre-video that they did, they actually, before the 2016 election, they tried out the Hillary campaign using his tactics to see how it would play, to use his message. They tested it before her campaign was even over. I found the test online. I couldn't believe it. I shared it with you guys already. And so they're out there using like Trump, like pro-business, pro-Trump, all this stuff. It outlined it all. And all of her blue wave people, thousands of candidates across the U.S. under 15 different flagship companies, all of which are funded by the Clinton Foundation, which you can say that, funded by Clinton Foundation. This person is funded by the Clinton Foundation. This person is with her. Clinton Foundation, Clinton Foundation, Clinton Foundation. Say that. Say this person's with the Clinton Foundation. Let them know that they're voting for Hillary because they got their training from Hillary. They got their fundraising from Hillary. They got their materials from Hillary. Hillary's behind all of it. So be smart out there. That's for the voters. I hope this helps. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time around. And I'm glad that you like my hat. And may you have a lot of fun thrift shopping if you live somewhere other than California. And if you live in California, may you have a lot of fun shopping at Ross or Nordstrom Rack, or if you go to the Camarillo outlets, not Saks Fifth Avenue, but the other one. I think it's the name. Well, really, there's just pretty things to gaze at. There's like really, no, you can get some really good sale. You can, if you go at the right time, you can get some just bomb freaking sales or whatever. But you'll actually see some Hollywood stars there. Oh, and there's a cosmetics company there. That's right. There's a cosmetics company there at the Camarillo outlets as well. But oh my gosh, there's just some bomb stuff there. But I think that there's that at the Cabazon as well. And I'm forgetting what's up in San Francisco. I should know all of these up by heart now because I've been to all of them. I know there's one in San Diego too. Like I've been to all of them. I know them all so well by now. So, but it's just kind of like an insider secret that like the real one is Camarillo. So anyway, I hope you guys have a lot of fun out there, and I love you and I miss you, and I hope that I can be back with you more often. The PT's just really kicking my butt. Maybe there'll be more late night recordings, but I'm trying to make sure that I get this article finished for you that I've been trying to record for forever. So, but you guys need to know about Twitter. So, and I know you want to know about it. So, all right, back to the fan, the $1.50 fan that is not a $1.50 fan. So, I don't know where it came from or who made it, but I love it. Have fun, America, on your most powerful day. Enjoy the vote. Look at that. I am warm. I'm very warm. Oh, that feels good. Do you know why I bought it? I bought it because I used to dance flamenco. That's why I was attracted to it. I was like, a fan! I can dance flamenco again. Well, I can't dance flamenco, but it reminded me of dancing flamenco. But you can't snap it. You used to do this thing like, and I was like, and then I opened it and I was like, I'm not freaking snapping this thing. Heck no. So, but I used to dance flamenco dancing when I could dance. So, but we will get there again, right, everybody? We're going to get this mama dancing again. I am going to dance again. I promise. Peace out. Happy voting. Bye. Oh, and donate below, please, please, please. It would really, really help, besides getting me more $1.50 items or whatever. But honestly, like, as you can tell, we're going through a lot of procedures, and it's not easy. We did get the server. Thank you so much for the server. So we're starting to backing stuff up. Thank God for that, and I need to do a video on that. So thank you, everyone, for that. So the server is finally done. And I need to start just downloading everything, which is exciting. So I did start doing it. We got it set up last weekend. But please donate to help support this channel so that I can keep going in all areas. So your donations help immensely. So link below. All right. And subscribe to be here next time I show up. All right. Bye, everybody. And I did find out a really big discovery too, and I haven't shared it yet. So that is coming, so definitely subscribe. Huge discovery when I was at the hospital that I haven't shared yet. That's coming. Bye.